Here you can see the SpineUs system revealing the spine in real time. The image on the left is a regular 2D ultrasound scan. The image on the right is the 3D model we build as the scan moves along the back. The process starts with two tracking markers. One sits on a belt the patient wears, the other sits on the ultrasound probe. 3 OptiTrack cameras watch these markers and track their positions with sub-millimeter accuracy. This lets the system know exactly where every ultrasound frame belongs in space. As each frame comes in, it is sent to our AI. The AI has been trained to recognize bone inside the ultrasound image. Once the system identifies bone, it places that information into the 3D view on the right. As you sweep the probe along the spine, the 3D model begins to take shape. You can literally watch the spine appear as you scan. The result is a clear 3D view of the patient's spine, created in real time and without radiation. It gives clinicians a new way to see spinal alignment while making the scan itself simple and intuitive. Next, I will share how to get a great scan and how to make the 3D reconstruction as accurate as possible. Now let's talk about how to get a great scan with SpineUs. You want to hold the probe in a sagittal orientation, which means the probe stays aligned along the length of the spine. Before you start, make sure you have enough gel across the entire back so the scan can move smoothly without stopping to add more. As you scan, move at a steady pace so you cover the entire region where the spine sits. Keep the probe in that sagittal plane, but gently tilt it side to side. This gives the system different viewing angles of the same anatomy, and it helps the AI create a cleaner and more complete 3D image. SpineUs measures alignment by detecting the transverse processes on each side of the spine. To capture those clearly, make sure your sweep covers enough width to visualize both sides. Scan one section at a time, usually 1 or 2 vertebrae, then move up to the next area. When you reach the rib region, the transverse processes widen as you go higher. For those upper levels, we recommend scanning all the way out toward the ribs to ensure you capture the full transverse processes on both sides. Following these steps gives you a strong, consistent 3D reconstruction and helps the spine reveal itself with maximum clarity. So with our system, what we can see is the surface of the spine. So it's like looking at it from the top when you're lying down and looking at where all those bones are. And so from there, we put marks down, and those marks will tell us exactly the angles and position of those vertebrae relative to each other. And so if you look at the hologram here on your left, what you'll be able to see looking directly at it from the mirror is what? What do you see?
That my spine is crooked.
Yeah, which way do you see it going?
More to the right than straight.
Yeah, so it starts off at the bottom here and moves up to the left, and then actually as it comes up, we can, because this is 3-dimensional, we can look at it from the bottom, and then we can actually see it moving off and to the right. And now what it'll also be able to show you is if you turn it to the side here, we'll be able to see what the angles are looking from the side. So we're looking for the natural curve here, the natural curve here, and the same with the neck. The other thing we'll be able to see is if we look at from this direction all the way from the bottom, we'll be able to see how rotated those structures are in fact compared to the normal, which would be straight. And then from there, we can calculate what's the greatest angle, the greatest amount of misalignment, and this is the scoliosis measurement. So anything over 10 degrees would be considered scoliosis. So it says, you said it's bending to the right, and it's bending about 15 degrees. So that would be considered mild scoliosis. We can also look at the angles looking from the side like we showed you there. We can switch to this one here. We'll be able to see what those angles are measuring from. And then if we go to the axial, that'll give us the rotation of the vertebrae, how they're twisting from each other. And so we can actually show you the reconstruction, which is the ultrasound that you saw, or we can show you the model that's represented by the landmarks that we put down. And then we can go back to this here. And then we can zoom in a little bit and we can catch different areas and look at different areas. And if you want, we can select different parts and see which angles are what from L1, for instance, up to T6, or if you have a particular area you want to look at.